Hello there, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about Alien Earth, which is the new alien, whatever you want to call it now. There's so many of them, and it's like, it's that thing is, when a series goes on a certain length and there's been so many bad entries in it, it gets hard. But thankfully this is a good one. It's not perfect, but it's a good one. It's far better than the series has been since Aliens, basically, which is 1986. Even though I adore Alien 3, it's far better than the prequel Ridley Scott films, which also I have a soft spot for some of the stuff in those films, even though the other bits are idiotic. It's definitely smarter, more enjoyable than Alien Romulus, which I had fun with, but it is a stupid film. And obviously it's better than Aliens vs Predator movies or Alien Resurrection. Alien Resurrection's still like the low part of the series. So this one is it's a prequel, kind of. Now, it takes place between the Ridley Scott films and the original film. So Ridley Scott made the prequels to his original Alien, and it was always heading towards Alien. And this series takes place about a year before Alien takes place, and it's basically showing like why the Britannia organization knew about the aliens, and they were actually looking at alien life forms in the universe to exploit. And the reason why the ship was sent off course in Alien to find this location was obviously things went wrong in this show, so they wanted to find out what they wanted another sample, basically. So that's what happened. So but that's the thing. This show fills in a lot without contradicting anything. It's like, yeah, they understood that there was another alien sample, and then they've been after it ever since. I mean, it kind of ignores the fact that by aliens, they've moved on from that. They're no longer interested in that. At least they must have thought that it was obsolete. There was something that, whatever. The thing is, these series, they have things that contradict each other, and it's like, and you just have to say, okay, I'm not going to say, well, why are they so focused on these aliens here, and then 50 years later they're not. 50 years later is a long time. Maybe they were just being patient, and it's like, okay, we'll go back to this event. We've had some disaster. We'll go back to this event later on, and who knows if it's worth it? Who knows? So you fill your own gaps at a certain point, because these series tend to become like very confusing if you try and follow the plots. But Alien Earth is enjoyable. Now, the problem it has is there's so many characters and it floats through so many situations that it does become like a case of some episodes are better than others, and some characters work better than others. And there's just some issues that happen in the show that there's like certain things that happen are important, but they're done awkwardly. And sometimes it's the case of, I wish I could have done it slightly better. Like, I was thinking about episode 7 mainly. Episode 7 has some stuff in it that's just a bit awkward. But it has a lot of interesting things going on. So I'll get to the point now. So Alien Earth takes place just before Alien, and what's happened was Yutani, whatever, have bring this ship back to Earth, and they've sent these people out who are basically picking up alien samples, of not just the alien from Alien, but also from other aliens they found, and they bring them back to Weyland Yutani so that they can start to experiment with them. So they bring them back to Earth, rather than coming back to something that's probably safer, like the moon or something. Which is not a good idea, but as in these films, people are ambitious and arrogant and think they can handle anything. So they try to sneak these things past customs and onto Earth, and all hell breaks loose and it crashes. Now the Earth's now made up of four or five different corporations, and one of them is this new one ruled over this kid genius who's taken what was basically an area that wasn't very well worked, and his genius has created this. Through basically creating robots, has created this massive wealth. So he's the one who's really developed like the robotics that would lead to Ash, lead to other characters. Now, Yutani has their own version of that, but it's not as advanced as what this kid has created. And he's now going into the idea of downloading brain memories into computer systems, into these robots that can actually exist. So what he's done is, because there's been problems with downloading like adults apparently into brains, he's using children. But later on, it just feels like because he thinks he can manipulate kids. But maybe there is a technical reason that they can do adults, but you do get a sense of, no, he has a control thing with him. So he's doing this downloading thing, but also he's heard about the Tani stuff, and he's thinking, I want that, because he's an egotist. So you find out as the show goes on that he actually paid off someone on the ship to cause havoc and cause the crash, so he could get hold of the samples. And you do a flashback episode where you go into the ship, and it's very alien as you watch these people slowly get killed off one by one as these alien creatures are released. And basically the ship crashes into his area, and he sends teams in to get all the samples and get them away quickly. And he's not going to give them back to his competitors because he's an egotistical maniac. But the crash takes up the first two episodes as they get into the ship and they try to find these samples. And it creates a lot of like tension, a lot of sense of the difficulties of this world. And you get a sense that people are basically used in this world. Either as someone who is useful in the military or in sciences to these people, or you're just the pure scum who buy the products and are looked down upon and are poor. They don't really care about the people. Everything's basically like, most people work in jobs and offices that are just dystopian nightmares fuel. Because I mean, basically, Noah Hawley, who oversaw this and wrote it, has done Legion, he's done Fargo, so he's definitely an experienced writer. I'm going to be doing Legion pretty soon as a video. I've just been watching them. Legion's terrific. But in this one, he pretty much pointing out that humanity despises his own people. It's just the geniuses use everyone else as their fodder. They don't see them as people, they just see them as spawn for whatever they want to do. So it's not a very healthy humanity at this point. It's a humanity that's just corporatized and everything's locked down, and essentially the way to survive is just to be, live your life either quietly or outrageously, but you don't have any real power. And you just have to accept that and just get on with your life as well as you can. And these geniuses take over because science is the main thing. Science is the currency. But in this one, basically, this kid actually exceeds his grasp. His ambition exceeds his grasp on what's going on. So he brings these creatures to this island. So most of the rest of the show takes place in this island. And one thing you find is, because it's a TV show budget, Hawley actually, if he uses a set once, he uses it for an episode or two, or even longer, and it's like, he uses his sets really well, so it's like, it feels like he got the budget for three massive set of sets, which was the spaceship, the island, and the crash site, and he used that really well. And basically, the crash site, half the set of that one is from the alien ship, is the ship that crashed as well, so they're reusing what was there. So it's a show that actually understands its limitations. So it's not spending a fortune on every little thing. But also that adds to claustrophobia, a sense of claustrophobia. People cannot leave. They're imprisoned either in the ships that they have to pilot, or they're imprisoned in an island they can't leave. They're not under control of this crazy child, this crazy teenage child who is a genius but has no one telling him, no, that's not a good idea. And you've also just got the sense of that they're moving everyone around a chessboard for their own amusement and their own to make their own gains. They'll be nice to you if you're doing what they want, but as soon as you're not doing what they want, they can be pretty cruel. So you have a variety of characters. You have like Timothy Oliphant as the artificial intelligence guy who's going around, and he's basically the top guy for the kid. Adrian Edmondson, who plays the basically the aide to the kid, who's fairly callous and horrible person. There's some scientists around who you find out the scientists can be used as samples if they want. You know, they have no problem once the scientists have outlived their usefulness of using them as a guinea pig. You've got the 5 kids. You've the original kid, and you've got these other kids, or there's 6 kids actually. There's 5 and the original. The original was called Wendy. She had another name before that, and she was a kid who was dying of cancer. They've moved her brain onto a robot, so now she looks like grown up, but she's still processing as a child to start with. But as the processing goes through her brain, she's starting to mature pretty quickly. And she's starting to download lots of information to understand how things happen. And she's been at it longer. She's actually had a chance to. She's the test case, and she's the favourite because she was the first one. And then other kids also became. The other 5 kids became moved into these robots as well. So they're much more immature. They're much more further behind than she is. So she's basically the leader. And as the show goes on, you're seeing them deal with trauma and deal with the aliens and deal with the humans and their various machinations. And it's like this basically this new life form, trying to understand what created them, what else is in the world, and where do they fit in the world. And that's basically the story, is them figuring that out. And you watch them all being manipulated and being slowly but surely learn to understand where their places are and how they've been traumatized and making mistakes and their own ways have been manipulated. Now, Wendy, she's also got a brother who's in the military, and he's one of the people who goes to the crash site because he's right next to it when they crash. So that's when she meets him. He didn't know he thought she was dead, and that relationship develops as well throughout the course of the 8 episodes. And it's him trying to deal with the fact that he lost his sister and he couldn't say goodbye to her, to this other person who is his sister but doesn't look like her, and she's also maturing and creating. She's not quite human, not quite not anymore, and she's starting to view him differently because he is a human with human beings' foibles. And also, as the show goes on, she starts to find ways to communicate with aliens as well, because she can hear their communication methods and can understand them. And there are different aliens. There's ones who are, there's an eye that can just attach to something and actually can use the body for its own gain. There's various other gross creatures as well that obviously become create victims quite quickly. There's a cyborg working for Weyland Yutani that's also out to get the samples back, and he's very ruthless. So you get all these characters are all floating around, and it's all about them. In the case of the children who become robots, them developing. And it's also just watching them understand the world as they experience it and understanding what people are and what robots are and what. Because they're kind of in the middle. They're not robots, not people, they're something else. So they're seeing what cyborgs do, what robots do, are programmed to do, what humans do. And they're finding them all lacking. And that's what the show is going towards, this idea of them understanding what the aliens are, what the humans are, and finding where they fit in the world. So the show ends some people call it a cliffhanger, but not really. It ends with like there's more story to tell, but also it ends a sense of self actualization for these kids who are now in robot bodies. It's them understanding what they are, and that's basically the point: understanding who they are, what they are in this world, and it's them finally deciding what they want to do with their lives. That's basically the point of the ending of where it's going. I'm not telling the plot ways of how it happened and who survives and who doesn't, but that's basically the idea of the show, is like self-actualization of these robot children who are now this brave new world of something else in the alien world. So that's what makes it really interesting. The alien effects are good. The world they've created is interesting. The acting's terrific. Everything really works in the show. It's just sometimes the budget limitations, and sometimes getting from A to B can be a bit clumsy at times here or there. Nothing major, just once in a while. I just thought in episode 7 it kind of had to jump from A to B to C to D quicker than I think it, just quicker than it needed, really. I think it was like one of those things where 8 episodes, and that episode felt like you had an episode and a half crunched an episode. And it just felt like there was a couple of things that could have been expanded upon more. It would have worked better if you'd had a lot more time with certain things. But generally, it's really enjoyable. I'd happily rewatch it. There's lots of nice nuances. Holly's really good at the sci-fi stuff. There's some people who do not like it who said it was stupid and stuff. And it's like, after Alien Resurrection and Alien vs Predator, you dare call this stupid? It's a lot of ideas. I mean, you might not like it or not. It's not stupid though. And it's just that one of those things. It's like some people just been snarky because that's all they've got in life. To be snarky, which I find just be pathetic. So I try and be optimistic but critical, not, have a kind of smart ass attitude to everything. It's just boring. There's some good stuff and there's some bad stuff. That's always been the case. That always will be the case. Anyway, that's me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you all later. Right, bye.